Hello, my name is Caroline and I make easy to digest technology videos. Today's video is about indexing and searching for your first documents in OpenSearch. If you want a step-by-step guide on how to install and run OpenSearch locally, please check out my previous video. But as you can see here, I'm already running OpenSearch locally in Docker, and I can access OpenSearch dashboards at port 5601, which I can specify in my Docker Compose YAML. But that will open up OpenSearch dashboards. I log in, and then this is the screen I should see. So in OpenSearch, you send your data as JSON via REST APIs. I'm going to cover OpenSearch's structure and REST API in a little bit more detail in a future video, but for today, we're just going to focus on a few indexing and search queries. So step number one is to open up your DevTools. And this DevTools is basically like the GUI for which you use to interact with OpenSearch. It's also similar to Elasticsearch's Kibana, if you're familiar. And we're going to write commands on the left-hand side, and then on the right, we're going to get our responses from OpenSearch. So if I hit this indices endpoint of this CAT API, and CAT stands for compact and aligned text, then I can see that the cluster is pretty empty except for some monitoring and security indices that OpenSearch has created automatically. By the way, this question mark V, this stands for verbose, and this will give you kind of these nice headers in your response. And then this S equals index, this controls how you sort the response as well. So here I've sorted by index name, but you can sort by any of these headers. So, okay, so we have a blank slate, and we've opened up DevTools. So step number two is to index our first document. And I'm going to do that for at least the first document by using a put command. So I have a little sample movie data here, which I'm going to copy and paste. And here, what I'm doing is I am indexing a document with these fields: title, year, director, genre, and plot summary. And then this document is going to be indexed into an index called movies. If movies doesn't already exist, then OpenSearch will create it automatically. Um, as a side note, you typically want to explicitly control how the index and how your fields are created. It gives you a lot more control in terms of how things are indexed and how, in what ways they are searchable. But for these purposes, we're just going to do it quickly. I'm going to cover that in a future tutorial. So we hit this doc endpoint. We send this information, and we also set the unique identifier of this document as 1. Sometimes it's useful to have unique identifiers explicitly controlled. There's a couple of reasons. So for example, like in a production system, if you want to make incremental changes to document content, it's useful to control that ID externally so you can go in and make changes explicitly. You also might want to link up, different documents or have one refer to another. That's another example. But basically, I'm going to run this command, and then we're going to see that this document was created. We have a successful result. So if we check the indices again, we should see now that the index movies is created and it has one document in it. And if we do a search, and we will do that search by going to the search endpoint for movies, we can see that the underscore ID, so this is that unique identifier field that we created that has an ID of 1, and then all of these fields are the ones that we indexed and made searchable. So that's one way to do it. Alternatively, if we post the document to movies, then the unique identifier will get automatically created by OpenSearch. So here's an example of that. So if we post this movie of Lord of the Rings, it's a fantasy movie, but we post it to movies as well, and we just hit the doc endpoint and don't specify the unique identifier, we will see that we as well get a created, successful result, but we'll see that this unique ID was created. So this NQ0, et cetera, was created for the field. So now if we go back and check the indices, Actually, this is a good reminder. So we just created our second document in movies, right? Well, here, why do we still only see one document under docs count? That's because we need to refresh the index, and that's as simple as hitting the refresh endpoint for movies. And then if I look at the indices again, I'll see that there are two documents now in movies. So basically this refresh interval is something, it's an index level setting that you can control outside the scope of this video, but just something to keep in mind if you might not see an update come through right away. Okay, so now if we do another search for all the documents in the index, we can see that we have the first movie that we indexed, the sci-fi movie Interstellar, and then the second movie, which was the fantasy movie Lord of the Rings. And so now that we have these documents in here, we can do all sorts of cool searching. So just to give, another example, so let's say we had a website, right, and we wanted to see only fantasy movies. Well, you can do that by doing like a terms query search. So I'm going to do get movies. We're going to do query, and we're going to do a term query, and we're going to do genre, keyword, fantasy. Okay, so here we are searching for only the films where the um, keyword of genre explicitly matches fantasy. So that's how, for example, you could, filter the results in an index. Of course, one of the most powerful capabilities of OpenSearch is its, free-form text or unstructured text search capability. So another way that we could um, demonstrate that is by doing this search. Let me just scroll down a little bit so you can see, or just collapse this. Okay, so in this case, we're going to do a match query, and we're going to search against plot summary. So plot summary is kind of our unstructured text field, and we're going to search for anything that has to do with the word wormhole, or that contains the word wormhole, I should say. So if I do that search, then the result that I get back, I can see if I check plot summary for Interstellar, as Earth dies, ex-pilot Cooper leads a team through a wormhole to find a new home for humanity. So those are just a couple quick examples of how to index and search for fields. As you can see, OpenSearch makes it really easy to get started quickly. And I will go into more depth on the REST API and also about data types and how to make, how to enable different types of searching based on the type of data that you have. I'll go into that in more detail in future videos, but I hope this was helpful. Thanks.